Hello team, my name is Mohammad Asim. Welcome back to the Cloud Asim YouTube channel, where you will find all the related DevOps, AI, and cloud related videos. In this session, in this video, what we are going to see it, we are going to handle one use case, that is post email based on your pipelines status, right? So what we are going to do, we are going to configure emails alerts, right? Email alerts using the pipeline script. Okay. In this, what we are going to do, we are going to write one script in which what we are going to fetch it that whatever the state of our Jenkins pipeline, in case of failure, in case of success, in case of unstable, we should receive one email to the designated receiver's emails. Okay. So in this case, we are going to check out completely. If you check over here, what I'm going to show you that, see, this is a template which we are going to receive later on. So what I'm going to do, just it will say that this is the status of the a status stating that the pipeline is success. Then it will print our project name, like the CI/CD name. Then afterward, it will print the build number as well. So this is what we are going to receive after configure. Here it will give you the build URL always. While you click, you will be redirected to the Jenkins CI/CD pipeline. Okay. So one more we added over here enhancement. We are going to attach some reports which we are creating in CI/CD pipelines, right? Like Trivi. Okay, we are scanning our Trivi file scans, right? That in form of we are converting into .txt format. That also I'm going to attach with this email so that it should be notified to your teammates, right? The teammates and the developer team lead or any XYZ person, so that he can review this and he can, if I check over here, and he can easily know that what are the vulnerabilities available in our source code, right? So if I check it over here, post action, we receive one mail in that all has been mentioned that this we need to fix, this library install version is this, we need to fix with this version. So everything will be receiving to the notifiers, right? So you can assign multiple email address. So and in this case of what kind of SMT server we are going to use, we are going to use SMT server as Gmail. Okay, which is simply what we are going to do it, we are going to convert our Gmail account into our SMTP server, right? So where Gmail permits you to send emails of 2000 emails per day. Okay, there is a limit for that. So let's go and we will have a lab and we will see everything how you can set up completely. Okay, Jenkins is already configured on my server. I have already configured where you can find my like previous videos also how to configure Jenkins on EC2 or any virtual machine. And already we have one pipeline, right? For that pipeline, we are using GitHub repository, that is this Bingo one, right? This repository we are using have already existing script been added over here without any post email script added to that steps. Okay, so for that, we are going to add a steps of email alerts. Okay, simple to that. So let's go and cover up the lab now, and we will see how we are going to write and how we are going to configure this SMTP server, right? So let's watch it. If you have not subscribed, please do subscribe, right? So that you receive latest update from our channel. So what I'm going to do it, I'm going to just go for here, manage your Google account. Then afterwards, then I'll be proceeding to the security. In the search, I need to search as app password. Okay, so if I check out on the app password, you will be finding that there is, I need to provide the credentials, right? Because it will ask you to validate, because we are converting our account into SMTP server, right? So what I'm going to do it, I'm going to give the name of this as a bingo one, right? Just to remember that this token is created for that. So it has created one token, right? So app password that we are going to integrate in our Jenkins server, right? In our pipelines. So let me override this one, right? So this what we have done, we have generated, I'll be saying done. So our prerequisite of creating the token for SMTP server is completed. Now what you required is that we need to go and we need to configure this. So when you're going for the Jenkins, where we need to configure in systems. Okay, where global systems we need to configure, right? So if you check it over here, we required one plugin. So let me open in the one. So I'll show you that plugin as well. So what I need to do is that first I need to install email extension plugin, right? So email extension template is there. I think that I have already installed. Let me cross check over here. Email extension plugin, right? This plugin should be installed because we are using in declarative pipeline, right? We are going to configure based on our request that always to be email alerts to the users. Okay. So this is installed in my end. If you're missing to install this plugin, please do install. So after that, what you need to do it, we need to go into the systems. In the system, what we need to do, we need to configure SMTP server credentials and everything inside this. So if you come into the drop down, you'll be finding that email notification, right? In the email notification, you should pass all the credentials related to SMTP server, right? First, what we need to do it, we need to pass our SMTP server. What kind of SMTP server we are using? We are using SMTP dot gmail, sorry, gmail.com, right? Because we are using email. Here I'm going to give it at gmail.com, right? So this is done. Then afterwards is asking what kind of authentication we are going to use. We are going to use US SMTP authentication. Username will be the my same email address on which I have created ASCII, right? So for that, I'm going to give it as gmail.com, right? Email address. Then I need to give this passkey which I have created, right? Token. So just I'm going to copy over here and I'm going to paste it here, right? Then I'm going to use TLS. It's prompting us either use TLS or SLS. So for security reason, I'm using SSL, sorry, TLS, right? This SMTP port which you need to configure over here is you need to give it as 584 on which this SMTP server will integrate, right? Is 587. So after that, we need to give one email address. So whenever you receive reply from the users, right, from the email, that should be directed to whom. So I'm giving my same email address on which I'm creating SMTP server. So everything is fine. Now I'm going to test it, right? So I'm saying that if the credential which I provided over here is going to validate that it's working or no, right? So I'm going to give it over here. I'm going to test the configuration. So it's saying that email was sent successfully. So that means our configuration, our token is working fine. Okay. So I'm going to apply, right? So I have changes the apply. Then we need to add email extension as well. Okay. So if you scroll here, extended email notification. This will be configured when you are going to install the plugin. If you don't find this option in the system configuration, then you need to install the plugin which I've showed you, right? Email notification plugin. So for that use case, what we need to configure completely. So first thing what I'm going to do is smtp.gmail.com. I'm going to give it over here. Then I need to change the port, the default port on which it will be working 465. Then afterwards here I need to pass the credential of SMTP server. In this case, I need to pass through the Jenkins vault, right? That is credentials. So for that, I don't have any credentials. Sorry, I have any credentials. I'll be adding one more over here just to show you, right? So I'm using which kind of authentication? I'll be using username and password. What will be the my username? Will be my email address. And what will be the password? Password will be the passkey which we have generated. Okay. So I'll be saving over here. The key name I'm going to give it SMTP ID1, right? Just to remember, I'll be adding, let's say, bingo, so that I can cross check. I'm going to use for this, right? I'm going to add it over here. Now this has been added. So in the drop down, I'm going to check the which I have added over here. Okay. So I have checked out this one. Then afterwards, I'm going to use SSL authentication, right? Because it's saying that please use one one of TSL or SSL. So I'll be using the TSL one. Okay. So after that, if you scroll down over here, then you're going to find that everything I'm going to keep it as default. Okay. So I'll be proceeding further. Then everything is fine. Then I'm going to apply and I'm going to save. What we have done, we have created one SMTP server credentials that we have added in the Jenkins credentials, right? The token and the username, and we have configured as a global to a global system as well. Okay, that's fine. So now what we need to do, if you check my pipeline over here, you'll be finding that the pipeline is what the pipeline which I have existing pipeline that is successful, right? Here I don't have a such stage of post email alerts. So what I have written over here the added steps, right, which we are going to show you. Okay. So if you check it over here, then it's kind of post build action, right? Here I'm saying al as well. That means whenever my build pipeline, CIC pipeline, either it's failed, either is passed, right? It's success. I should receive one email alert. Then I'm going to pass this criteria just to fetch which kind of user I've generated this pipeline triggered. Okay, who have triggered this pipeline, either from the Jenkins server or from GitHub repository, right? If one developer puts the code, so that can be given as, if the code is pushed by any developer, that it will print as GitHub user. If it is generated by our the administrator or the one I'm going to generate now using a login into the Jenkins, right? At that time, it will take the Jenkins username and it will print that. Then here I'm going to check in the subject of my email. What I'm going to print it, I'm going to print the status of my build. Then I'm going to add env and the build number, right? And in the body, what I'm sending this is a bingo CI/CD pipeline. Then I'm printing the job name, build number, build status, failed or pass, and who has triggered this, right? Which kind of user has triggered this, is from the Jenkins server or GitHub user. Okay, then it's going to add all this. Then afterwards, I'm sending that is forward this email to Mohammad Asim Akram. If you want to add any another one, then you can add multiple email address as well. From where? From my email address. And reply to this. If you need to ask something else, so you can override this email address of Jenkins administrator. Okay. So it's text HTML. And what I'm going to attach now, I'm going to attach two files, because in my Jenkins pipeline, I'm creating two files over here. One is trivfs.txt using triviscan. Then I'm taking trivimage.txt. These two files which is exist in my workspace Jenkins, right? That I'm going to add in my email address. So when I'm going to find that email address, sorry, email, in that email, I want these two files to be attached in that, right? You got my point. So I'm going to copy over here, right? I'm going to copy over here and I'm going to paste it over here. Okay. Just let me hit enter. So it will be below the stages. Okay. Below the stages. Okay. So in the align of status. So if you check it over here, I'm starting from this, then I'm adding one more bracket to come to close, right? To close the pipeline from here, right? This one is getting close over here. So you have to check the syntax. If you don't want any syntax in the red color, that means your script is fine, or else you can take help of online editors as well. Okay. So now I'm going to apply and I'm going to save it. Okay. Now we have added one stage of post build action. So now I'm going to trigger it. After that, everything happened, it will create one more stage stating that is a declarative post actions. Okay, where we will add all the what we have specified, that emails, right? In the email, what we have specified in the Jenkins pipeline, stating that add these files, that will be added and sent to the user, right? That means I have assigned what, I have given the email address mine. So I'll be receiving the email stating all the status of my Jenkins pipeline with the uh, attached reports. Okay. Well, if you find it here, we have added one stage, which is the build is gone success, right? That means our build number two is success, right? So let me cross check over once again. So the build is success. Now, as we have enhanced our pipeline, we should receive one email. Okay. So let's go and cross check my email address. So it's stating that just I have received one email address, right? So if I check it over it, that is 0 minutes ago, right? So what I'm going to do it, I'm going to check it over here. This is a Jenkins Bingo CI/CD pipeline. That's fine. And then it's saying that project Bingo one, which we have given. The Bingo one is of what? Of my project name, right? The name which I have given for the pipeline. So that is given over here. Then afterwards, what I'm finding, then it started by what? Build status is success, because my pipeline, what the pipeline which I have triggered is success. After that, what happened? Then it's saying that started by AD. That means the user, who is the user now? I'm the user, right? AD. So I have logged in as Asim, right? The user is AD. So it's printing, it had fetching all the ANVs, environment variables, and it's adding in the email and it's forwarding to that. And even I'm adding one build URL. With that URL, anyone can go access my Jenkins server, right? Server and the project build as well. Okay. So what does it require? You require only authentication, like you require Jenkins Jenkins username and password to enter into that. This can be handled with Jenkins administration. Attach any file, right? Any file if you want to, whichever you are creating in the Jenkins pipeline, that you can attach into your email, that in the post build action, that file will be forwarded with your pipeline alerts notification. Okay.